And so another day here at the Blast Fall Groups, done, dusted, all wrapped up and packaged like the beautiful gift that was Operation Riptide. That dropped on us, gentlemen. Hello, by the way. Welcome from the desk to the overtime show. We got rid of Mohan and we brought back our analysts. I'm all for it. Big day for CS. I mean, we can get into the Blast CS a little bit later if we need to, but what I wanted to talk about and what I wanted to give, I think the crowd a chance to kind of mull over alongside us is the fact that, in my opinion, out of the blue, faster than any timeline could have expected, we got ourselves an update today.
Let's cheers to that. Let's cheers to that. Let's cheers
to the Riptide.
The end of the day, cheers to that. Cheers, Connor.
Man, sorry.
Wins.
It's great. It's great to see that.
Really nice.
Yeah, to see that the CS Dev is being active.
Yeah.
That we're getting some quality of life updates along with it. I like the short mode. That is That's a nice little addition. MR8, just fast games. We busted out 3 of those games before we had to start.
Before everybody else showed up to the studio.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. We'll run it through the timeline today, right? Myself and Mohan, we had to come in earlier to record an interview for the Push to Talk podcast. We got that out of the way real quick. Shout out to Esatag. You guys will see it soon. The episode's a fire one, thanks to him. And then we're like, all right, we go back to the hotel? No. We got computers in the green room.
Short mode.
We got a new update to delve into. So first and foremost, Mohan made sure to burn $200 on skins.
Did he get something interesting?
Absolutely nothing.
I had the same problem.
You got the green glow. You got the
I got a gamma drop.
Not emerald, just gamma.
I tried. I ended up with the M4. I was a little bit disappointed with that one.
Yeah, but at least you tried.
Yeah, and it's very exhilarating.
Sure.
Trying that.
Part of the experience, man.
Exactly.
It's Gaben's personal casino. And then we jumped into, like you said, short mode, right? Because we knew we had some time, but not too much time. And I think that to me is one of the. I have the list of like all the piece by piece update we can jump through if we want in a second. But short mode's a big one because we're talking about a game that has for a little while now, I think, been titled as like too long.
It's been a concern.
You guys feel it. I mean, as analysts, you work both Beth of Threes and our broadcast. We've had a lot of 16-14s today, a lot of 30-round games of CS, and it's been a really long day for you guys. So to package our experience playing CS into a 25-minute section, dude, I'm saying that to me is my favorite part of Riptide.
Yeah, I think we have to make a distinction as well between having top-level Counter-Strike, which honestly at the moment I have no problem with. I think I'm fine with like the best of threes that we have. But also the vast majority of casual players who at times would just like to play 25, 30 minutes. That's it. You don't have to commit to 40, 50, 60 minutes or wherever a game is going to take you. And it's kind of refreshing and it's very relaxing as well.
Yes.
I also played a couple of these in the morning and I don't know, you appreciate it. It's something new. It's something very fresh at that. And it's great that we are exploring new territories when it comes to Counter-Strike because we've been playing this game for many, many, many years, and we can at times be stuck in our own ways, right? This is number 15, that's how it works. It's like, no, let's try something new, right? Let's try something new.
Change the tempo.
And yeah, it's very welcome, I think, honestly.
I found it kind of to be like there's a couple times, I mean, to be honest with you, we were playing and maybe 4 or 5 rounds in, we're losing like 1-4, 4-0. I forgot that we didn't have 10 rounds to come back. Like it's very jarring.
You come in warmed up.
Yeah, exactly. Or if you really lose out on a half, let's say you go down 6-2 on an 8-round half, then it almost feels like you're just playing half by half Counter-Strike. And then we've talked about this before, where it's like, if you're having a bad day of CS or if you're in a bad environment when you're playing Counter-Strike with randoms, you can at least, unlike MOBAs, where you're kind of locked into a team-based experience, you can always just start a round, look for a headshot, hope for a round win. You can focus on your own game, look for your own experience. You can derive, moments of happiness from an otherwise like salty experience. But now, it's like that express lane because we have these quick halves. And
One thing I would say about it is that I don't know why they're using your actual matchmaking rank though. That's my only concern with it. I thought they were, they do a danger zone rank, a wingman rank, they do a matchmaking rank, and
they're gonna be a separate one. It's not gonna be the same one.
It's the same rank. It's your matchmaking rank, which is a little bit. I don't care about my matchmaking rank anymore.
What is your matchmaking rank?
It's usually Supreme or Global. Right now it's Supreme.
I don't even know what I am, so
right now it's Supreme. I mean, really, I'm playing more, Face It or whatever. I'm playing more Face It than anything, honestly. And so That's something where I know people care about it, though. That's my main thing, because some people really do use matchmaking as their primary mode of playing Counter-Strike, and for them to have what is kind of supposed to be, in my eyes, a more casual mode, take their rank, I'm just looking out for the little guy, the guy that's trying to play, like, to get to, you know, LE or DMG or something like that, and he might care.
To which I'd say I think that couples very nicely, this short mode, and the fact that it does still kind of use your rank, or does just factually use your rank, with unranked. Just straight up unranked, right? Unranked still uses your skill-based MMR, so if you're queuing as a global or you're queuing as a supreme, it's still supposed to throw you into a similarly skilled lobby, but then I think that's a good time for it, right? To kind of switch that off, or unrated, unranked, whatever it's called.
Scrimmage mode?
No, because scrimmage has been removed.
Yeah, it's such a known territory for me.
Right.
No, you don't know. So
no, I don't really.
That's fair. Yeah.
Much.
Face it, man. In this case, I noticed that even they didn't really touch about it too much in, I'd say, the patch notes, but like even the UI when you're looking for games has a lot more preferences that can be set nowadays.
Okay.
I saw on the left that because you can choose between, you know, short games, regular games of 30 rounds, or no preference. I'm assuming if you put on no preference, you can get either or.
Match, yeah.
Right? Which, in that case, like, I can see you putting on unranked with no preference if you really just want to shoot some heads in CS and you're not too, you know, if you're just playing carefree, let's say. But you could also do, I saw on the side, like, favorited preferences. So you can set it to be this specific set of maps with also this type of game mode, whether that's short. It just feels like Valve's just trying to give us more and more options, a more and more open experience, and I'm kind of for that.
You know, I'm really late to the party, but today I streamed a little bit and I wanted to try this operation. I wanted to try the matchmaking. Yeah. And then I got so excited when I saw this premiere lobby where everyone can like vote for the map and everything.
Oh yeah.
And my whole chat was like, oh, but it's you know, it's been there already. What are you talking about? And I was so excited. Wow, this is so cool.
So you thought it's new.
I was doing my plans. Oh, I can put 3 vetoes. Wow.
Yeah.
And like everyone is voting. It's like, okay, I've been missing out on that for quite a while. I need to catch back up. And I was also, I have to say, I was quite surprised by how competitive people were in the lobbies I ended up being, because I also played a few of these short games, and I thought people would just like, you know, hang around and have fun. But actually communicating, trying quite hard, even being frustrated at times, like they were not joking around. They were actually playing to win.
Yeah, and the thing is that I think a lot of competitive people, esports people, are probably thinking more about, you know, the guns, the maps.
Of course, yeah.
But
things that actually affect us.
It's important to build out the casual player base.
Of course.
Because there is always that, in a way, trickle-down effect of just huge player base, and some of them will go on to try to be pro. They're going to try to find those other avenues to become, you know, ESEA main players, and then they'll try to, it develops interest that lasts a lifetime. If someone works as hard as it takes to get to ESEA Advanced, they're probably gonna follow Counter-Strike for a very long time. Even if they don't make it to professional, that's someone that, in a way, because they had that avenue, because they played short games at first, then played regular games, you know, devoted more time to it, wanted to take it more seriously, that stuff's really important, even though obviously people care more about the guns, the maps.
So before we jump into what actually affects professional Counter-Strike, right? There's another piece that I think I've seen kind of less people talk about so far today, but is also very interesting to me because, you know, sometimes you got to play MM and unfortunately you have to deal with cheaters. The best way to get away from cheaters is to start using an actual pugging service, right? An anti-cheat enabled service. Yeah. However, once you start doing that, I feel like you can run into a different set of troubles, which is higher level games of CS, where you're just kind of getting bullied out of servers. Sometimes you're gonna have to deal with smurfs if you're not already at a high caliber. And that's where we get this private matchmaking queue. So
you need to explain that to me.
Right. So, you know, on Faceit you have hubs, right? You guys know the hubs, where it's like it's a private queue of whoever wants to join. You can set your parameters, you can set whatever map pool. So we now have private matchmaking queues, which is using essentially a friend code, right? Like a code in-game when you make the lobby, just like you would have on PopFlash or any other like 10-man service. You have an invite code that you can then send to 9 other people through Steam to join onto a Valve-owned server, like a matchmaking game, except it's private.
In-game 10-mans.
It's just the people you know. It is in-game official 10-mans. You don't need any other server like provider.
Nice.
It's a 10-man experience provided by Valve now. And you can do it with Premier Matchmaking. You can do that ban process, but just with your friends. And I think that's like what you're talking about here, where it's a step closer to a more competitive experience. You know?
I have been in Discords where we're talking about, hey, we got enough people, let's do a 10-man, and people are like, okay, how are we gonna do it? And then it's like,
you have a server,
yeah, you have a server.
The IP,
you wanna do Pop Flash, you wanna do Face It. Okay, everybody join this Face It lobby. Okay, how are we gonna queue it? There's so many settings you have to worry about, and this just streamlines the whole process, and everybody can just do it. They don't have to download the anti-cheat. We don't have to mess with the Face It settings. It's so much better because, you know, so many people that I know have Counter-Strike and maybe they just have a handful of hours, you know. Well, today I'm actually thinking that means like 1,000, 2,000 hours. Whereas like to normal people, they're like, what, that's a lot. But it's like, no, that's very casual to us. And those are the people where this is, again, a huge win for. They can just,
and I'm gonna make this use of it, you know. I'm definitely gonna make the use of it myself. It's just, it's convenient. And that's something that unfortunately with CS, we've had like this kind of, you know, gripe with at times. Is like, not everything in Counter-Strike is always convenient when you're just trying to get in, buy your guns and
Can you invite someone that's not in your Steam list?
Yeah.
Anyone with a code could.
Anybody with the code.
So you could imagine like, for exactly for a community, you can just drop that at a community and people can join you instantly.
You can even invite through Steam groups. So if you have, you know,
the Xantarez Peak group, everybody join right now.
Just, oh my God, all those Zoomers, dude.
Oh my God.
That's not a lobby I want in.
That's a scary lobby.
So thank you CSGO, thank you Valve for making that update happen. I think that there's a lot of people whose quality of life when it comes to playing CS is going to be increased. Somebody whose quality of life was ruined today would be Mauisnake when we had to play Insertion 2.
Oh yeah,
we're
touching on this one quick because you know, again, it's just the maps that get added. We've got 2 new Wingman maps that I didn't actually have a chance to touch on. 2 new maps in the matchmaking / unranked, you know, queue. One of which I can't remember the name of, but is placed in what feels like Iceland.
Basalt.
Not Assault.
Basalt.
Very tiny, dude.
Yeah,
super
so small.
Map. Feels like you can hear A site from B site.
Yeah, that one's a little strange. I don't know if that's ever going to reach the like actual esports competitive pool, but you know, they're looking at the data, I'm sure of that, and they're going to see if people like it, people queue for it more. Insertion 2 is just a corny ass hostage map. I don't want to do anything.
Do you know what these are,
that.
Matthew? The Insertion 2 maps?
No, I do not.
Okay,
but I love how the way you describe it. Like, I just love it.
Imagine this, man. Like, okay, during your operations, do you ever play the co-op missions where like?
It's a whole side of Counter-Strike.
I'll just explain why this map is not that fun to me. It's basically, you start, if you're on the CT side, you have to choose like a landing spot every round. So like,
pick a spawn point.
You can pick a spawn point, and there's a few brooms, a few hostage buildings, and you have to extract them from it. But there is just fog and tall grass and trees everywhere. It feels like you're playing.
Almost feels like
Arma or PUBG or something.
It's a very different experience in CS.
It's a very not Counter-Strike experience, and with the time to kill that there is in CS, if someone just gets the better of you because they're hiding behind a tree, you're just dead, and you're just like, that just sucked. And
I've also spent a good time on Insertion back when I was playing more casually, and
we still got wrecked.
Exactly.
And we still got owned because we started CT side.
You didn't win any of these games?
We won the Basalt game.
Yeah, we did.
I just started running at kids on Basalt.
They were talking mad shit.
They were actually.
They were dropping derogatory terms.
Did they recognize you? They know who you were?
Maybe.
Sometimes.
Mayhaps.
I don't want to say probably. Like that would be kind of pretentious. Of course they did, Matthew.
You know who I am.
No, I think they're just the trolls of the internet.
They're just punks. They were punks.
But
we outpunked them.
We did.
We punked them. Yeah.
Talking about maps, which are I think it's like I always give new maps a chance. I think playing CS on a new environment is one of the coolest things because it's
a bit too old school with that.
Yeah. Smaller changes. Duali's now less expensive.
Right.
M4A1S has a increased damage, and the Desert Eagle is a decreased damage.
I have heard things about the armor penetration or whatever that wouldn't be changed. So I don't really know when there is an armor. Does that change something with the damage? Is it still like increased and everything?
So as far as what I could tell, I believe the base damage of the A1S has been increased from
33 to 38.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So right there, right there you have one less bullet to kill, which is I think for an A1S and body shots very convenient.
That doesn't matter. The armor doesn't matter with that number. It's just base damage. That's it.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Then yeah, that makes that can make a huge difference.
Cuts it off. I believe now mathematically the A1S has a higher
DPS.
Yeah.
Yeah. Damage per second.
Damage per second.
The damage per second
than the
can
A4.
be higher. Yeah.
Assuming
despite the rate of fire being lower.
Apparently. I didn't crunch the numbers, but someone else did.
I mean, before that update, we still had a couple of professional players trying to implement the M1S. I feel like people dipped their toes and then kind of got back. I think the AUG as well took over a little bit.
Yeah.
But it would be great. Like, I haven't really given up on the dream of having actually the A4 and the A1S being viable completely, and then it being, I want to say einfach. I want to talk German for a second. That's because we've seen Big. It just came out. Just it being like, just being, very happy. Just being like a decision, right? With pluses and minuses, right? Say, okay, I'm going to take the A1S because I'm playing this position, this role there. And then the other guy in a different set of role, different set of, I guess, demands in his playstyle is going to go for the A4, A4.
Yep.
I still wish that we would get there. I feel like we've been kind of tiptoeing around that, but we never gotten to that point where there's actually two viable weapons.
So would you agree that that train of thought, you know, just the availability of options is the same type of mentality that added dropping grenades? Because I remember there being a very brief discussion for a couple of days on Twitter, maybe 4 or 5 months ago, about this whole dropping grenades concept.
Yeah.
I believe Sponge was at the heart of it, because dropping grenades is something you've always been able to do in Danger Zone. Always. Okay. So it's been in the game, but just in one obscure game mode.
Right.
And now we have it, obviously, in the vast majority of game modes. So it feels like that was just something that was kind of food for thought. And then it was, yeah, that opens more options.
Right.
Let's see how it works, let's add it.
The magnitude of that change is actually something I don't think we can really fathom right now. Honestly, that's the way I see it, right? I've seen a lot of people on the Twitter sphere and the amazing internet that we have dropping hot takes and having very firm opinions.
Yeah.
And the only impression that I have is, how the hell can you know? Like, how do you imagine you already know what is going to happen with a change that is so deep and can take so many different faces, different shapes and forms, right?
You know to get impressions. That's the only people that
I should start doing that.
Are just trying to get impressions.
I should start doing that, right?
They don't know. And
oh my God, this is gonna be so bad. Like, what do you mean? Just give it a month. See where it goes. Like, the first thing. Okay, so the first way I thought about it was, obviously, opens up a million different avenues to play Counter-Strike that we haven't really thought about. Some of the takes you will see on the internet is like the fakes. Obviously, like one player being able to fake for so long.
Yep.
You have the one player being able to hold the B side alone. These are some of the things, right?
Yeah.
But then my brain, maybe just because my brain works in a different way, but I'm already instantly thinking about the downside of it. And I'm like, hold on a second, like, do you think if I'm holding the A side of Mirage and I see one smoke, and I see one smoke, and then one smoke, I think I'm gonna be like, I think they're rushing A, I think they're rushing A, come back. Hell no, I'm not gonna do that. Like, I know it's a fake.
Yeah, you still have a brain.
Exactly.
They have more nades, but
so
you still have a brain.
Like, it goes to a deeper level. It goes to a deeper level what's actually going to happen, and this is what's exciting. People are going to try to take like a double take on it. Maybe fake to fake. Have one guy throw 2 smokes or 3, having 3 guys ready to go on a pop flash. Like, that's what I'm excited about. People trying to get the counter take of that.
The fact that it opens up new options for strategies is where it gets really fun. I think that there are enough places like Mirage, for example, at A ramp or outside of it, where you can throw stairs, CT, top
a lot of
con,
different smokes, yeah.
all pretty much in the same exact spot. If people just put the smokes on you, you can do it. I don't know all the nerdy lineups, but I know people that do, and those people are going to thrive with this. And
stonks right now, man, are through the roof.
People that have great nade knowledge, that they are going to be really valued. I think most pros have really good nade knowledge, but the people who have extremely good nade knowledge can really benefit.
Could be a tool to market yourself as well now in Counter-Strike. Like, hey, util specialist, I know everything from everywhere. Give me 3 smokes, I can do anything you want.
Until the HLTV rating shows that, it's going to be tough to sell it, because people still just pick people up like that.
But yeah, I'm very excited to see. And there is also another aspect of it that we don't really think about. Everyone is a little bit, not outraged, but concerned with the fact that we have the RMR coming very soon, and then the major is down the line in about 4 weeks. So it is a very short turnaround if you want to reinvent your playstyle.
Yep.
And then I think it forces teams to make a very hard decision. How much of that do you want to implement in your already set and refined strat book?
Yep.
You have a playstyle on 5 to 6 to maybe 7 maps that you like and appreciate. Do you really take the risk of saying, okay, we're really gonna implement that dropping grenade stuff?
Yes.
And this is going to be, I think, a factor through which we can, or maybe a lens, a filter through which we can see teams, like what teams are really implementing it and what teams aren't.
Yep.
And I don't think everyone's going to go at it the same way. We might see teams just jump on that, and some other teams might just say, you know what, before the major, screw that. I'm not touching it. We're going to have time to build something around it.
This is the one thing now where Na'Vi fans will have an excuse. They're the,
Oh, James is already starting with this.
James Banks right now.
If we don't win the major, it's because of the grenades.
Because they made the smoke change or something like that. Yeah, that's gonna come up. I mean, that's a valid opinion, and this is a pretty big change mechanically speaking for the game right before this, but there is some easing into it, and the teams that are already secured, Na'Vi's already secured for the major, guys. They're already gonna make it, so they could just use this whole time leading up to it to just experiment, and then they can kind of show their whole hand there.
So it's 4 weeks.
It's 4 weeks is a lot of time for a guy like Blade.
It's not,
I was gonna say, yeah.
It's not that I disagree with you, but it's like you're gonna decide to dedicate a lot of your mental energy in the 4 weeks to implement that, rather than just being better at what you do. Like, you have a limited amount of hours you're spending, and a limited amount of things you can focus on.
And this is why, dead on, when you said earlier, the fact that this is something that I don't think we're gonna see the full implications or the full effect of in such a short period of time, right? I think I appreciate the fact that we are blessed with players who have, I think, a more adaptive mentality, all right?
Sure.
Like I said, we started the day today, Launders and I, with an ESOTAG interview, and we had a chance at the end to just catch his thoughts, right? Off the record, just, hey man, what's this, what's the initial reaction in your circle at the moment? And he said we didn't care if this came out a day before the major.
This was off the record, and you're revealing it now. We thank you for that. Thank you for that, though.
Yeah, that's the most valuable info we've got.
All right.
On the record.
Just make sure.
It goes full circle. No one's ever safe.
We're off and on.
Oh, you're a good journalist.
Yeah.
Very good journalist.
So he's just saying that he doesn't care when it comes in. It's just something new. It's something fresh. It shakes up the meta so intensely that they're not going to use it as an excuse. And I was listening to the interview that you guys were closing out the show with as well, where they said that the supportive staff of NIP is already jumping on it, already just starting to size up those possibilities. Because let's say there are those teams who fixate themselves on what they already know and don't pay too much attention to what could very well end up being a meta-defining change. That's fine. I don't think, let's say, for example, Na'Vi don't even implement it once, just for the sake of argument. Na'Vi is still a powerhouse and a serious contender. But let's say we get to that game where Na'Vi is against the ropes, and it seems like the loss is coming through. And in that moment, we see an underdog finish them off with some kind of strategy that is implementing this drop grenade sequence. Because my favorite thought, and where I think that drop grenades is going to be the coolest, I told you this morning, is the thought of just leaving 1 or 2 pieces in spawn or where your rotating routes are always going to be through, right? Let's think to yourself okay, we don't need 2 incendiaries on a site of any given bomb site out of spawn. We're going to work with just the 1, because that creates the possibility of either going back to get the incendiary, saying something goes well, or anything left behind for either side of the map to work with just creates possibilities. And it's not as though there's a stockpile or a cache of just extra guns lying all over the place. It's just, as a caster and as somebody who builds the storyline in the moment, I think how much more exciting it's gonna be if I can say, this is only possible because of the nade they left in that position 45 seconds ago, because of the forethought of a decision. It's it adds this whole new layer to our game. And it's cool to see that some pro players are open to the thought of how it's gonna change things up. And at the same time, man, I kind of lose a bit of respect for guys who on day 1 are this is an awful change and it's stupid.
They're just set in their
Man, you haven't even had time
Yeah.
to test it, dude.
What I think of the most when I think of some history that relates to this is around the 2017 international, for Dota. There was a meta that came into that tournament, and then the tournament finished, and Valve just didn't release a new patch for, say, 4 months after that. Maybe it was 2018, but either way, teams then still kept reinventing that meta. There were actually more efficient ways to play the game, and then it developed a new meta after the international, and people were like, oh my god, this could have been played at the international, it would have been the winning strategy. And my assumption going into the major is maybe there's 1 or 2 teams that test this out, but the teams that are really good, in a way,
it's a trade-off. Short term, they just want to be good.
Yeah, they don't necessarily need to. So maybe we'll get an upset or 2, but the thing about Counter-Strike is that you can't always implement this strategy and have it be effective every single round. So maybe you'll squeak out a couple rounds, but that just means that when Blade goes back to the demo, because Na'Vi are just practicing their fundamentals, they can just steal that one round. And that's so simple for them. It's not like you have to take an entire game plan and play it out like in a MOBA where you're going into the game with a certain build, a certain game plan, and you have to commit to it for the whole way. It's just steal one round, steal one strat.
I like to think about how long the Krieg was as powerful as it was in the game before anybody truly started to shift our entire meta to it, right? Like it took over, man. It caused permanent damage, as you can see. And yet it took time for that to happen. So I think we could see like flashes of this change, but maybe one day, let's say a year and a half down the road, there's gonna be some kind of idea that hasn't actually clicked in everybody's minds today because it's one day off the press.
And that is what is always so fascinating and intriguing about a new change, because again, I try to be very humble about it, and I never pretend that I fully seize, you know, the entirety of a new concept coming into anything. The grenade drop is an example, right? Yeah. I never pretend like, okay, it's fine, I have figured out all the ways we can use it. Absolutely not. But as a whole, I think no one really does. And what you have as a result is that you have a first wave of like, you know, going around with it, and then teams adapt, figure it out, and then you have another reaction coming over, and it's like an ever-evolving concept where it's like people start doing one thing, and then there is an answer that comes up organically, and then there's another answer to this, and then 2 years from now you say, oh, of course, that's how we should have done it. But at the very beginning, you're just thinking, you know, maybe right now we're talking about how you leave a grenade in spawn, and that might be the first organic answer, but then someone somewhere is going to tell you, no, that's not what you have to do. You have to put it in connector because this is a quicker pass. And this is what I like to see, right? I like to see answers being found to new questions that we didn't even know existed, and then a new answer. That's what's fun.
The best part is that all of these takes, regardless of their positive or negative, have gotten people talking about CSGO today. Everybody's fired up, everybody's heated, and I think this means it's a good chance to cool down a little. And here on the Overtime Show, to close out groups, we've got our Magnum sponsor.
What a transition. That was actually, of course.
What a better way to cool down than a little Magnum ice cream. So, gentlemen, if I may, am going to take a second chance at cracking open a special Magnum ice cream.
All right.
If you will allow me to serve you a small goblet of said dessert.
Of course.
While the two of you tell me whether things went as expected in this group.
Okay.
Well,
the group is over.
No.
No, it
didn't go out as expected.
Day one, we said the favorites of this group were G2, even with their EPL results.
Oh my God, I'm still not over this.
We were thinking that they're going to bounce back, and I mean, they look good against MIBR, but for the other teams, that was, wow.
You're just gonna throw stuff around like this, you know?
You're gonna make someone clean up after you.
I'll do it myself.
We'll make sure he does it himself.
Don't make me look bad.
Yeah, of course. No, that was dramatic.
Questions, interrogations towards this group. I still haven't really swallowed that whole G2 debacle somehow.
Crack it.
Already cracked, baby.
Oh, cracked, okay.
Pre-cracked.
So when you crack it, just means that then it's easier to serve and scoop?
Once it's cracked, this thick layer of what is currently caramel nut covering will be the top piece of your then delectably smooth Magnum ice cream base.
I've spent the whole day without destroying my shirt, and I think I'm about to ruin that right now, but let's go. Maui, this one's for you, my dude.
Thank you.
There you go.
All right. I've already done a review on this one.
Also, we have to do like review.
No, I already did my review.
Last time we went like we got real obsessed. But now here's the secret: is everybody in production's been eating Magnum ice cream every single day because it's available in the kitchen.
We literally eat this all the time now.
And
crazy.
But it's never as special as it is right here on the Overtime Show.
All right, do you mind fighting again, or?
By all means, please, gentlemen. You've definitely earned it.
You get to eat from the pint itself.
I know. Last time I did.
You know, I'll finish it. Okay. All right.
We'll put it in the fridge, Maui.
All right.
Think of the others.
Fridge.
All right. I can do that. It's good.
So, Mathieu?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
You approve of the double gold caramel billionaire?
I already had one and I liked it.
It is delicious. It is delicious.
Thank you, Magnum.
Once again, I said it last time, the texture is just great. Like, that top on it adds another dimension to it, where otherwise it's just kind of a, well, it's more than just another caramel ice cream, but that top is, it's really good.
You can describe this ice cream with a passion I respect.
I will say as well, having actually learned how to properly crack this beforehand, it's way more enjoyable this way too. I didn't feel like a fool who was about to squeeze it onto the floor. The pressure was high, you know. It says billionaire on it. Nothing that says billionaire on the front ever deserves to find itself on the floor.
We know there's only one billionaire in CS, and that's Anders.
True.
Yeah.
No, he doesn't even have windows on his house.
Oh my God.
Mid-construction. Just like Counter-Strike, an ever-flowing set of updates that construct the world and also the passion that we end up transitioning into this game. For some, it's just a game, and if today is just a casual update, then that's you. But to us, it's a lifestyle. And this life continues on 2 days from now. Group 3 of the Blast Fall groups is about to be underway, and if I do say so, it's the hottest group we've got. Incredible level of competition upcoming. Incredible level of company to close out the show. Thank you guys for joining me.
Pleasure.
Thank you, all of you, for watching Blast every single day. We'll see you guys in a couple days for even more Blast action.